Night Touchdown Podcast with your hosts, Reese Downing and Jacob Workman.
What's going on, guys? It is TNT Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast, NFL edition, week 4 picks. Rolling right through things here. With me, as always, is the fine citizen and co-host, Mr. Jacob Workman. Jake, how's it going, brother?
Everything's good. It's a wonderful Monday night in Baltimore. Yeah.
You had a big game. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. Let's kick things off here. We're talking about the results. I went 9-7, missed my lock and dog. Jake went 8-8, missed his lock and dog. So not bad as far as the game picks go, especially picking early in the week. We did miss our lock and dog, but we'll get it right back this week here. Let's quickly recap through the scores of the games here. The Panthers blanked the Atlanta Falcons 30-0. The Browns beat the Packers 13-10 off of a blocked field goal. The Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Houston Texans 17-10. Minnesota Vikings beat the Cincinnati Bengals 48-10. Pittsburgh Steelers beat the New England Patriots 21-14. Philadelphia Eagles beat the Los Angeles Rams 33-26. We're going to talk about that game here in just a minute. Tampa Bay Bucks beat the New York Jets 29-27. There was a blocked field goal in that one as well. The Indianapolis Colts beat the Tennessee Titans in Nashville 41-20. Washington Commanders beat the Las Vegas Raiders 41-24. Los Angeles Chargers beat the Denver Broncos 23-20. Seattle Seahawks beat the New Orleans Saints 44-13. Chicago Bears beat the Dallas Cowboys 31-14. San Francisco 49ers beat the Arizona Cardinals 16-15. Kansas City Chiefs beat the New York Giants 22-9 on Sunday Night Football. And then, as Jake just alluded to, Monday Night Football, the Detroit Lions beat the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore 38-30. We've got the Buffalo Bills, Los Angeles Chargers, Indianapolis Colts, Philadelphia Eagles, San Francisco 49ers, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers all remain undefeated entering week 4. We talked a little bit here just a second ago about a couple of huge block field goals. Special teams was pretty chaotic this week, impacted a lot of games. But the first game we're going to talk about is the Los Angeles Rams Philadelphia Eagles. Again, the final score of that was Philly 33, Rams 26. Jalen Hurts finished 21-32 for 226 and 3 touchdowns. Matthew Stafford finished 19-33 for a 196, 2 touchdowns and a pick. The Rams went into halftime complete under total control with the scores 19-7, and then they came out and scored again on the first drive of the third quarter to make it 26-7. It looked like it was all but over, but then it wasn't. The Eagles went on to score 4 straight touchdowns, including this play to end the game.
Joshua Carty has it blocked again. This time Jordan Davis, the big man, looks for the icing on one big cake. Eagles hang on.
That was a nice little call there by the announcer. But obviously a heartbreaker of a loss for the Rams. They, like I said, they were under total control until about midway through the third quarter in that game. And then Philly woke up and some sloppy stuff happened for the Rams. And it finished with a big Jordan Davis running for a touchdown to seal the deal. Jake, what were your thoughts on the Rams loss to the Eagles?
Yeah, the bettors rejoice on that block kick touchdown that was unnecessarily ran in because that was the cover play for Philly. So,
yep.
Not only did they win, but covered on top of that with the craziness. 2 blocked kicks in the fourth quarter. The Eagles are now on a 12-game home winning streak. 2 of those being the Rams last year in the playoffs, too, when we thought the Rams had them beat then, too. But to be up 26-7 in the third quarter and blow a lead is not something that's too promising. It honestly sucks because when we were talking a little bit during the game, it was like, man, Philly does not look good at all. And then quickly did that change. I know there was a big interception right on I think the first drive of the game. Philly had a pick. Stafford, the numbers weren't that great. The Eagles did false start again on a quarterback sneak that wasn't called. I thought we were past that at this point, but they're still getting away with that, which is interesting because in the Saints game, they flagged them immediately when they tried to run it. So
yeah,
it's amazing how the team that is the focus of it doesn't get called for it, but everyone else does. But yeah, I mean, It's a tough loss for LA. That they're gonna have to rebound and rebound quick. They go home to play the Colts this week, and the Colts are obviously on fire, so they need to get it fixed quick. You can't blow a lead like that. That could be the difference in hosting Philly in the playoffs, honestly. So that's a big loss.
Yeah, for sure. Disappointing finish to that game. Sean McVay did not make any excuses. He just, you got to turn around and get right with it. Obviously, there's a lot of season left, but the Rams are not going to be able to go into any games when they're up by 19 points, and especially with a quarter and a half left, and give up a win like that, because they should have left Philly with a victory for sure. We do have a request here, Jake, just so you know. Come on, Jacob, give me something good. Ruggiero, am I say that correctly?
Ruggiero, I know him.
Okay, there you go. All right, Ruggiero.
He's ready for some big ones this week.
Okay, all right. Well, we're gonna get to it here in just a second.
Well, the good news is a little sneak preview is we both have the same lock this week. So for people that are in that, stick around for that, because that should be a very safe bet this week in our world.
Yeah, usually Jake and I are not on the same page when it comes to our locks and dogs, but we did line up this time. Speaking of potentially one of these teams, let's talk about your Detroit Lions. The Lions beat the Baltimore Ravens 38-30 on Monday Night Football. Goff finished 20-28 for 202 and a touchdown. Lamar Jackson finished 21-27 for 288 and 3 touchdowns. The score looked close, but the physicality of the game was not. Detroit sacked Lamar 7 times, controlled the line of scrimmage pretty much throughout the entire game. I do think the game ball's got to go to Knuckles, though. Montgomery turned 12 touches into 151 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is just insane. Jake, your reverse psychology last week worked. What were your thoughts on the matchup and the big win in Baltimore?
I mean, our D line raised hell like that. That's something that we've needed. Hutch was on fire. Muhammad was all over the place. The spy we had running was working perfectly. Anytime Lamar tried to move, we got to him. I don't know if we could have concocted a more perfect thing. The only thing really that I complain about leaving the game is kind of Terrion Arnold. I'm a little down on him right now. I get that we're putting him on an island in man coverage, but he's got to also be a little better. Watching the game as opposed to going back and statistically looking at the game, he was a little better than I thought he was. But even MCDC in the press conference today said Amik Robinson's going to get a little bit more time on the outside too to help Terry and maybe bump him inside a little bit. So there's going to be a little bit of changes going on there. Muhammad had an injury scare, but they did come out and say that they do expect him to play this week, which is huge. But he did not practice today with a knee injury. But yeah, like you said, Montgomery, huge. Honestly, everyone was huge. I can't fault anyone in that game. That was almost a perfect game plan for what we did. A road game on Monday night in one of the tougher places to play in the NFL. And yeah, they scored with under a minute left to make it an 8-point game. But realistically, I mean, we were up 16. So that's a dominating performance against a very good team.
Yeah. Giving up 30 is not that bad when it's against the Baltimore Ravens at home in a Monday night showdown like that. The fumble that you guys called Derrick Henry.
Yeah, the Hutch punch.
Massive, Hutch punch. Yeah, I mean, that was a really, really fun game to watch. And I definitely think to your point, 38-30 makes that game sound a little bit closer than what I think it actually was, because Detroit was pretty much in control throughout the entire game there. So.
And one thing that was just perfect after the Hutch punch was Derrick Henry went over, slammed his helmet, then fell on the bench, which was hilarious, and then had to be consoled by Willie Taggart, which anyone that knows my love of Willie Taggart, it was just a perfect visual for me as Henry was struggling. Willie Taggart was getting his ass beat. It was just a perfect situation that night. I couldn't have asked for anything better, honestly. And Sonic and Knuckles are what they are, man. That if our run game's going to look like that, Jesus Christ, like we straight took it to them, including lining up in triple I. Like, I mean, we had a power I formation going with 2 tight ends in front of either Montgomery or Gibbs, depending on who was in. And then we were motioning them out. I mean, we had Amon-Ra was lining up in the backfield a couple times. One was a quarterback sneak and one ended up being an option for a touchdown. So, I mean, it was overall, I like I said, we couldn't have asked for a better game. And our offensive performance after week 1 has been nothing but spectacular. And after all of that, where's Benedict? Where's Benedict? Well, I think we're okay without him.
Yeah, and even to that point, the Chicago Bears looked pretty good last Sunday, and I can promise you that it wasn't because of Benedict and Caleb. The Dallas Cowboys are struggling right now on defense. Great game for the Detroit Lions. They are heading home this week to play the Cleveland Browns, who just got a big upset victory over the Packers, and we will talk about those games here shortly. Let's roll into some news here before we get into our plays of the week. The New York Giants and Brian Daboll actually a little bit ago just came out and said that he is the one who made the decision on this. They are officially making their change at quarterback from Russell Wilson to rookie Jackson Dart after an 0-3 start to the season. A little disappointed we don't get to see our boy Jameis under center. We'll see how long Jackson's leash is, but they are making that change after an 0-3 start. The Houston Texans surprisingly cut safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson after allowing 6 catches on 8 targets in the first 3 games of the season. That leaves the Texans with only 2 true safeties on the team, so we'll see what Houston does from here. It's a loss for the Texans because they acquired C.J. from Philly in March in exchange for guard Kenyon Green in a late-round pick swap, and they just cut him. So a little surprising out of Houston. Titans head coach Brian Callahan is officially giving up play calling duties to quarterbacks coach Bo Hardegree after their 0-3 start for Tennessee. We'll see how they do in Houston this week. Interesting stat I saw earlier. Jake Browning is 30th in the NFL in passes thrown, but he is first in interceptions thrown after throwing 5 picks in just 59 tosses. Super confusing trade. And I'm going to pause here and get your thoughts on this, Jake. Tennessee Titans shipped cornerback Jarvis Brownlee Jr. in a 2026 7th-round pick to the Jets for a 2026 6th-round pick. Brownlee started the first 2 games of the year. He compiled 17 tackles combined in addition to 1 defended pass. He was inactive in their Week 3 matchup against the Colts after he suffered an ankle injury. But questionable trade here by the Titans. They are not deep at the cornerback position. He's a young dude. Could have been a starter there for a while. Really seemed like they had grabbed a solid late-round pick. What the hell? What's going on here?
Yeah, it honestly doesn't make any sense. I don't understand it, and especially for what they got back. Like it wasn't like they were anything fantastic they were getting back or anything. I do know Callahan said that it was just like a one-off situation, like it wasn't an incoming fire sale or anything, but still, like it makes no sense. And especially this early in the season, I don't quite get it.
Yeah, I don't understand it at all. And again, they do not have the depth at cornerback to be shipping out a guy that's as young and talented as Brownlee. So, all right. We just talked about these guys a little bit, but the Lions set some records on Monday night. Sonic and Knuckles combination of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery established they're holding the record books after Monday night's victory, as they each had a rushing touchdown in a game for the 11th time. That is now the NFL record. In addition to that, the trifecta of Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, and Amon-Ra St. Brown also landed in the record books for each scoring a touchdown in the same game for their 10th game. So the Lions just put a hurting on the Ravens and set themselves in the record books while they're doing it. A lot of firepower in Detroit. We also had a couple of quarterbacks move further into the record books. Aaron Rodgers moved past former teammate Brett Favre for 4th all-time in the career touchdown passes marker in Sunday's win over the Patriots, making it his 509th. And Los Angeles Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford surpassed Matt Ryan for 9th all-time on the same list with his 382nd. Some quick injury news here. The Cowboys are going to be without CeeDee Lamb and rookie offensive guard Tyler Booker for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Both players suffered high ankle sprains in Sunday's loss. The Cowboys are already without starting center Cooper Beebe, so it's going to be tough sledding in Dallas, especially as they go up against the Packers this week, although the Packers have a slew of their own injuries they're dealing with on both sides of the ball. 49ers defensive end Nick Bosa is officially out for the year with a torn ACL suffered in Sunday's win over the Cardinals. Tampa Bay Bucks hit again in the receiver room. Mike Evans is expected to miss multiple games due to a hamstring injury suffered in Sunday's victory over the Jets. Arizona Cardinals running back James Conner is out for the rest of the 2025 season with a foot injury. And Los Angeles Chargers running back Najee Harris has suffered a torn Achilles, and he is also out for the season. So got some rough injuries that happened in week 3. But we are going to keep it moving here. Let's move into plays of the week. We're going to jump back to the Rams-Eagles game. There were a couple hits on Jalen Hurts that just need to be shown. We're going to start with McCullough here on Jalen Hurts.
Bringing it here and getting there. absolutely levels Jalen Hurts.
He rocked the shit out of him.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that wasn't the last time. We're going to stick to the same game, and let's watch Jared Verse do the exact same thing.
Call your best plays. Go 3 yards on that first play. Hurts gets pounded. The ball is out, and the Rams will fight for it at the bottom. Nate Landman, it looks like, has it. Nate.
How Philly turned around and won that game is just insane to me. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Let's watch a little Baker Mayfield shake and bake action.
3rd and 9. Mayfield looking, stays on his feet, cuts to the outside, and Baker Mayfield with his legs picks up a Bucs first down.
That's the part of Baker Mayfield's game that makes him so special. You have 5 guys coming in on the blitz. He's able to sidestep 1, 2, 3 defenders.
We needed that Chris Berman.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, that was a hell of a move by Baker, and those jerseys are fire, dude. They need to bring those into play more often. Let's stick with the same game again. We talked about some field goal blocks. Let's take a look at this Jets blocking score and keep an eye on the sidelines as we see a little earth, wind, and fire action that happens as we're running this guy back.
Oh, it's blocked. Field goal attempt is blocked. Scooped up and will be taken all the way for a Jets touchdown. Will McDonald returns it into the end zone, and we are.
That was a hell of a leap. That was
Yeah,
impressive.
hell of a leap. Understandable dancing for Glenn. Tough loss for them because he thought they had their first W.
Yeah, they
for sure.
should have won the game. That sucks.
Yeah. All right, let's jump over to the Commanders-Raiders game. Jeremy McNichols looking like Cam Scadaboo, just running dudes over.
Chris Moore in motion, straight ahead run. And tough yard, still on his feet. Jeremy McNichols. I don't think they're going to get him. And he is in for the Washington touchdown.
These tackles really good at the point. Bam, there's Chin. Bam, there's Roberts. And Roberts actually knocks Chin off that tackle. And just keeping your feet, keeping it churned, and woo, out the door you go for McNichols.
60-yard run, longest of his career.
Broke 4 tackles, and those weren't arm tackles either. I mean, those dudes prototypical wrap and tackle, and
It was a terrible look for the Raiders. That was bad.
He wasn't having it. We're gonna wrap up our plays of the week with a little Colts action here. Let's take a look at this Jonathan Taylor touchdown for our boys in Indy.
2nd down and 4 to Taylor. Taylor explodes, makes a man miss to his right. Spin move, a beauty, inside the 30. High stepping at the 25, inside the 10, into the end zone. Touchdown, Jonathan Taylor, 46 yards.
It's one of those video game touchdowns. Like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Taylor's been he's back to being Jonathan Taylor. He's looked really good.
Yeah, very healthy. Like the Colts, man, they're making me eat my crow right now. That 5.5.
This is our team. This is our Colts.
Yeah, they're looking damn good at the moment. All right, that's plays for the week. Let's jump into our week 4 picks, guys. We are going to kick things off Thursday night. Seattle Seahawks at the Arizona Cardinals. Thursday, 8:20 p.m. at State Farm Stadium on Amazon Prime. Over under is 43.5. The Seahawks are favored by 1.5.
What a terrible fucking game. Like, who wants to watch this? Jesus, this is a tough one. I'm gonna go. I don't like either one of these teams. Let's go Cardinals at home. A little Thursday night upset here. I'm gonna take the Cardinals to win this game outright.
All right, yeah. Seahawks, I think, have looked kind of good since week 2. Sam Darnold under center. Kenneth Walker healthy has made a huge difference for them. They're going to need him against the Cardinals defense that's holding teams under 100 yards rushing per game. But Seattle has won the last 4 in Glendale, so let's make it 5. I'm going to take Seattle here minus the points. Next up, we've got a little international action. The Minnesota Vikings versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Early start here at Croke Park in Dublin, Ireland on NFL Network. Over under in this one is 40.5. The Vikings are favored by 2.5.
Yeah, I think the Vikings are a better team with Carson Wentz than they are with JJ McCarthy. But I know that the Steelers contingency in Ireland is pretty large. I think this will end up looking kind of like a Steelers home game over there. I like the Steelers to win this game outright.
Yeah, both defenses played out of their minds last week. So if that continues to track, I would take the under here. But fun fact, Minnesota has not lost a game in international play. We've also seen in college that weird things can happen in Ireland, but I'm actually going to take the Vikes here and lay the points. All right, our first afternoon action, the Washington Commanders at the Atlanta Falcons, Sunday at 1 p.m. Mercedes-Benz Stadium on CBS. Over under is 45.5. Washington comes in favored by 1.5.
Yeah, Penix had one of probably his worst game ever last week. I think he rebounds a little bit here, but I still think Washington's a little too tough in this one. I like Washington to get the winning cover here on the road.
Yeah, still up on the air and whether or not we see Jaden Daniels and Marcus Mariota under center for the Commanders, but Washington took care of business last week with Mariota. I'm not sure it matters. Atlanta surprised me by throwing up a goose egg in Charlotte last week. It makes me kind of not trust them, especially if they're going up against Jaden. So I'm going to take the Commanders here on the road. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Chargers at the New York Giants. That is Sunday at 1 p.m. at MetLife Stadium on CBS. Over under is 44.5. The Chargers are favored by 6.5.
Yeah, so many questions here. The debut of Jackson Dart in the NFL, what the offense is going to look like with him. I kind of trust the Chargers and Jesse Minter and his defense against the rookie quarterback. So I'm going to take the Chargers to cover this one.
Yeah, Harbaugh and the Bolts have looked solid so far this season. Look like the prototypical Harbaugh team with the ground and pound and tough defensive approach. Tough first matchup for Jackson Dart, who's going to take over for Russ under center. Only way the Giants are going to get the W here is if Dart can make up for the mistakes and inefficiencies that Russ couldn't. I just don't see that happening. So I'm going to take the Chargers here to win by a touchdown or more. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans at the Houston Texans, Sunday at 1 p.m. at NRG Stadium on CBS. Over under is 38.5. Houston comes in favored by 7.5.
Yeah, this line's surprising to me. I think that's too much. I know I've said that pretty much every week with Tennessee and how I feel like they're a decent team. But Houston, I don't feel like they should be a more than a touchdown favorite against anyone. And clearly a 38.5 over under. They're expecting this to be a very low scoring game. So I'm going to take Tennessee in the points in this one.
Yeah, neither team's looked particularly good this year with both teams looking for their first W. I think Houston's run game is going to look a little better in this one going up against Titans defense that struggled to stop anything on the ground. But I'm with you. I think this is going to be closer than a touchdown. I don't know if Cam Ward's getting his first win, but I am going to take Tennessee and the points. Next up, we have the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to face off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Sunday at 1 p.m. at the Ray J on Fox. Over under is 44.5. Philly comes in favored by 3.5.
Yeah, it's both teams that realistically should have lost last week. Late scores to win for both of them. I think the injury to Mike Evans is pretty large in this one, so I'm going to take Philly to win and cover.
Yeah, I've been high on this Bucs team since the preseason. They keep getting the job done despite some significant injuries on the offensive side of the ball. This is going to be a tough game for Baker to win without Evans or Godwin. But I do like what this defense has looked like for the most part. If they can keep it close enough to be within a field goal, I don't know if Tampa's going to win this one, but I'm going to take Tampa in the points here. Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers at the New England Patriots Sunday at 1 p.m. at Gillette Stadium on Fox. Over under is 43.5. New England comes in favored by 5.5.
Yeah, Panthers, a little bit of a surprising performance last week against Atlanta. Patriots, again, another one of those teams that kind of should have won last week. Steelers with a late victory there. I like the Patriots at home in this one, though, to go ahead and get the win in the cover.
Yeah, was last week a fluke or a sign of a tune-up for the boys from Queen City is the question.
Yeah.
Bryce is going to have to make plays with his arm if they're going to get it done, because if Vrabel has that rushing defense fine-tuned, they're the second best in the league right now. I'm not sure who wins this, but I do think it's going to be a close one to the finish, so I'm going to take the Panthers in the points. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints at the Buffalo Bills, Sunday at 1 p.m. at Highmark Stadium on CBS. Over-under is 48.5. Buffalo comes in favored by 15.5. I already know what the pick is, Jake, but go ahead and tell me.
Bills.
Yeah, Bills. Spread's pretty chaotic, but New Orleans was down by 32.5 against Seattle last week. Yeah, hard to pick the Saints in any game against the spread here. So we are both going with Buffalo. Next up, we have the Cleveland Browns at the Detroit Lions Sunday at 1 p.m. at Ford Field on Fox. Over under 44.5. Detroit comes in favored by 9.5.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier the Muhammad injury news looks pretty good at this point. The Browns did lose the starting offensive lineman last week, which I think is going to be a huge deal. We're returning home. I know it is a short week, but momentum's high right now. I think we win and cover.
Yeah, Cleveland's defense looked legit against the Pack last week, but again, they're dealing with a lot of injuries. Fighting Dan Campbell's in Motor City is also a different situation. Lions are going to need to keep Judkins in check, but I think Detroit gets it done here at home. So let's go Roar here minus the points. Next up, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the San Francisco 49ers Sunday at 1 p.m. at Levi's Stadium on Fox. Over under is 46.5. San Fran comes in favored by 3.5.
Every 49ers game is impossible because they have so many injuries and they get more and more every week. They're a very tough team to even guess of. I don't know. I'm going to go Jacksonville with the points just because of the uncertainty in San Francisco with all their injuries.
Yeah, Mac Jones revenge bowl here. Niners have looked good without Purdy. I know they lost Bosa for the season, but Shanahan's pretty used to navigating a myriad of injuries with this team and still producing. I still think this is a tough matchup for a Jags team because they do have some talent on both sides of the ball. I like what Jacksonville's defense has looked like this year. It's going to take a late field goal in this game to end up pushing in San Fran's favor. So I'm kind of with you. I'm going to take Jacksonville in the points here. I think San Fran's going to get the win, but I think this is going to be a little bit of a close matchup. Next up, we have the Indianapolis Colts at the Los Angeles Rams Sunday, 4:05 p.m. Eastern at SoFi Stadium on Fox. Over under is 49.5. The Rams come in favored by 3.5.
Yeah, I feel like the Rams haven't played at home all season. It's nice that they're finally going to be back at home. I do like the Rams at home in this one, but it's going to be tough to slow down that Colts offense. It's going to be a fun matchup watching the Rams defense, which was on fire until the end of the game last week, against that Colts offense.
Yeah, for sure. As my exact notes were watching this Rams defense up against Jonathan Taylor, and if they are going to be able to get pressure against Daniel Jones, obviously the Rams are returning home after a heartbreaker. I do love what the Colts have been doing. I just think McVay's going to have this team ready to take some frustration out after blowing last week's loss. So I'm with you. I am going to take Stafford and the Rams here minus the points at home. Chicago Bears versus the Las Vegas Raiders is next up Sunday at 4:05 p.m. at Allegiant Stadium on CBS. Over under is 47.5. The Raiders come in favored by 1.5.
I'm just really struggling with the Raiders right now. I'm really down on them, honestly. I'm going to take the Bears straight up in this one.
Don't let the Bears and Caleb Williams' performance fool you last week. That was a reflection on Dallas's defense and our inability to adjust more than it was a step forward for Ben and the Bears. Expect the Raiders to put some actual pressure on Caleb, maybe force some mistakes. I'm going to take the Raiders here minus the points. I get where you're coming from here, but I think last week's game was more a reflection of Eberflus's defense and his inability to make any changes outside of his own scheme than it was the Bears taking a step forward. Next up, we have the Baltimore Ravens at the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a big one, Sunday, 4:25 at Arrowhead on CBS. Over under is 48.5. Ravens come in as the visiting team, favored by 2.5.
It's crazy to think one of these teams is going to be 1-3. I saw that Worthy is probably going to be back for the Chiefs this week, which I think might be a little big. It's just a do or die situation for both teams. And in those situations, I'll usually take the Chiefs at home. I know that Kelsey and Reed kind of had a little spout last week, which I think is kind of what they need. I think they need more of that.
Yeah.
They get rid of the complacency of being the dominant Chiefs and return to actually caring. I'm going to go Chiefs to win this outright.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this game. I never expected both of these teams to come in at 1-2. Baltimore's coming off of a short week. Lamar also hasn't historically played well against Kansas City straight up. I just have a feeling this Chiefs team is going to be able to get it done, even if it's a tight one. If you give me Andy Reid at home plus 2.5, I'll take it. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs here and the points as well. Next up, we have the Green Bay Packers at the Dallas Cowboys Sunday at 8:20 p.m. at AT&T Stadium on NBC. 47.5 is the over-under. Green Bay comes in favored only by 6.5.
Yeah, Parsons is back in Dallas. Jerry's already saying they're not paying tribute to him. I really need Dallas to win this game somehow. I'm not sure that's going to happen, unfortunately. It'll be one of the few times that I root for the Cowboys, though. So I unfortunately am going to be taking the Packers -6.5, though.
Yeah, I had a feeling that's where that was going to end up heading. No Booker, no Lamb, Micah returning to Dallas. I don't have a problem at all with Jerry not paying tribute to Micah Parsons. He didn't do shit when he was in Dallas. I loved him when he was there, but I had much ado about nothing. There's no reason to pay tribute to a guy that was only there for a few years and didn't take us far in the playoffs. I just don't get it. Nothing against Micah Parsons. He's still one of my favorite players, but I don't see why it's a big deal. I digress. Sunday night is going to be a long one for me. Packers are dealing with some injuries, but Dallas's run game has been one of the surprising parts that I've actually liked about this team. I do think this is going to force Schottenheimer to get Kevontae Turpin a little bit more involved, and I want to see that happen because he's got a lot of speed, and if we can work some plays in to be able to help him out with that, I think that's going to be good. But I am still with you here. I am going to take the Packers here minus the 6.5. Maybe possibly some reverse psychology like you pulled for the Lions last week, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I am going to take Green Bay here minus the points. We've got two Monday Night Football games. First one is the New York Jets at the Miami Dolphins. Monday at 7:15 p.m. is the kickoff at Hard Rock Stadium on ESPN. Over under is 44.5. Miami comes in favored by 2.5.
Yes, this one I'm just going to keep simple. The loser of this game goes to 0-4. Both teams are winless right now. I picked the Dolphins to be the second worst team in the NFL at the beginning of the season. So I will be on the Jets plus 2.5 here.
Yeah, this is another game I went back and forth on. It's tough. We'll see if we get a repeat of Earth, Wind, and Fire dancing if they play September in Hard Rock. Fields may be back, which makes this a little bit tougher to pick. I think Miami's going to get a close W here. I'm going to take Miami in the points, but I'm probably going to be wrong on this one. I wouldn't put any money on it.
It might be the end of McDaniel.
Yeah, if they don't win this game, especially if it's not a close loss, I definitely think that could happen. They did say they were going to be patient with him for what it's worth, but that doesn't mean anything in the NFL.
We'll see.
Yeah. Second Monday night matchup, the Cincinnati Bengals are traveling to Mile High to play the Denver Broncos Monday at 8:15 in Power Field on ABC. Over under is 43.5. Denver comes in favored by 7.5.
Yeah, this one's tough because that seems like almost too many points. I know it's going to be Browning in the Bengals, but I mean, Denver hasn't exactly been what we thought they were going to be either. So that seems like a lot of points. I'm going to go Denver minus 7.5. I'm going to go with a defensive score being the reason they cover.
Fair. Yeah, since he looked atrocious last week, Denver does play well at home against the spread. Their defense needs to get their head out of their ass and play up to expectations. They're playing in top 10 in fantasy points, but they certainly don't look like what they've been projected to begin the season. There's just nothing going for the Bengals on either side of the ball here, so I'm going to roll with Denver minus the points as well. That is it for our week 4 picks. Let's roll into our locks of the week. Jake, what's your lock?
MCDC, putting the balls in the wheelbarrow, running the option on 4th down. We don't need Ben Johnson. We're coming back home to face our old boy, Jim Schwartz, which I do love Schwartz. I'm glad he's coming back. He's a well-liked former Lions coach, and honestly, of my lifetime, probably the most successful Lions coach we had with the exception of MCDC. I was a big fan of Schwartz, but I don't think their offense is going to be enough for them in this game. I love the Lions returning home and wreaking havoc. I know 9.5 is a lot, but I think this is one of those games that we kind of show up, and this might be a 21-point win.
Fair enough. Jake's locking in on the Lions. We teased this earlier to your buddy. Same way. Echo everything here. I'm going Lions. Dog of the week. Jake. Let's howl it.
Ireland, here we come. I'll take Aaron Rodgers. In the land of Guinness, Steelers with the underdog or the upset win at plus 124 in Ireland early Sunday morning.
Yep, down get your NFL Network action ready at 9:30 in the morning. It's going to be a long one. I am going to go Tampa Bay plus 160 at home. I think they're going to keep this game close enough. All right, guys, that is it for us for week 4 action in the NFL. As always, please like, share, and subscribe on all platforms. Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast, TNT for the fine citizen, Mr. Jacob Workman. This is Reese Downing. Check out our NCAA podcast as well. That should be published if you didn't get it live, but we will be on all platforms. We will see you guys next week.
Huge weekend in college football. So everyone go check that out. We will see you guys next week.
Cheers, guys.